So Noah, just remember your camera. Yep, you got it on the left. All right, so where are we? We're in a parking lot. Told you, congrats, you made it. This place used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion used to face the front of the space, facing East Bay Street. And Eliza's restaurant was actually lined up, her restaurant. Her garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. Let's get into who the heck these people were. Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks, in case you weren't paying attention. That's why we look for secondary clues. In the event somebody sees or hears the name Charles, I need to know which one it is so I know how to address them directly, if that makes sense to you guys now, because they're all 3 different people. Now, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than all of you. We're going to talk about Eliza instead. So, she has a much better story. Let's get into her. Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it that way because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age when they married. Kind of a creepy age gap then, a creepy age gap now. So just pointing that out. Again, not giving you specifics, but enough clues to be able to kind of recognize when you hear it. Back to Eliza. She married her husband because her father was over in England, where she's from, and the father thinks he's dying, and he's trying to bring all of his children home one last time. Eliza does not believe he's dying, so she stays put right here in South Carolina and gets married. It's 1744. You do not get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry him out of love. This is a true love story, everybody. Not all your ghost stories are going to be horrific, just so you know. But she was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. A lot of you are wearing it tonight because that's how we use it. When she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it going. It's not always warm here. When she figured that out, she learned how to make the dye, then moved it to a cash crop, got a hold of Dad, and told him that rice plantation prices were going downhill. They were going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial days. Something absolutely unheard of. Now, that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys showed up. So, what's going to happen with this location, I'm going to try to keep it as controlled as possible, because this can be a very temperamental place. Again, this is a true love story, and it is also a place of respect. I'll explain before we leave the space. But with each communication device, I'll kind of give you a series of questions to either focus on or say out loud. There's no right or wrong way to do this, whatever you're comfortable with. So, Pam, we're going to start off with you, and it's actually going to work kind of in tandem with your device at the same time. So the Eliza that I just talked about with the indigo is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So the first wife, Eliza, dies in January. 5 months later, he marries the one that I just talked about. So kind of a jerk move if you really think about it. So ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay. Figure out which Eliza we're dealing with, which means on your end, Mindy, you're going to be looking for the initials ELP in that order. No other order will, make this brain say, yay, we have something. ELP only. Next spirit box. So with yours, you're going to focus on Eliza's death. 4 major things that she's pretty open about talking about it. So the 4 common things that we get from her: how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So the age, how, where, president. You got those? Marianne, with yours?
Yes.
Mansion's not here unless you can see it, and I can. Can you see a mansion?
Yes, my mind.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is.
Now,
lots of rooms.
Lots of rooms. So your spirit box gives us like 1 to 2 syllable answers. You're going to ask what happened to the mansion. And if you get an answer, ask for the when did that happen. And we normally will get 2 or 3 numbers from the actual specific date of when that tragedy occurred. I'm giving you a clue that it's a tragedy. For those of you using communication devices, keep in mind if you're asking questions, those answers can go anywhere. That does include my voice recorder or any of the 3 cameras that are recording audio as well. That's why you're going to tell me all the silly little things that are coming out of the 2 spirit boxes between Charlotte and Marianne. So again, you don't know what is being asked from somebody else. What's going to happen is we're going to spread out. We're going to stay away from the 2 cars. I'll do 1 or 2 round robins depending on what's going on with your devices. I'm going to keep Mindy behind so I can show her how to work that thing even further. And then I'm going to be with everybody else here in just a moment. So go ahead and spread out and let's see what we can get.
So we're just going to voice, like speak out loud?
It's up to you. Speak out loud or just focus on it.
What's going on right there? Oh my goodness. Hello. Oh my god. Hello. That's a bottle. Are you still there? Maybe not so much there. Well, okay. I saw something over in that corner, but I don't know if it was just the disc thing.
Okay.
But when I came back around, I didn't see quite the same thing. I saw two figures, one like right on the caution sign and one on that satellite thing.
So it's going to pick up signs and anything that's in front of something else.
Yeah, but it didn't happen the same time when I came around. Like there was something.
You were recording the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
I wanted to also point out that it will pick up your shadow.
Oh,
There's an absence of light on your shadow, so it looks like it's in front of something else.
Okay.
So
So maybe as I got closer, it picked that up.
it may have.
Okay.
And a lot of times when I'm going through the video and somebody says that they think they saw something like what you just told me, a lot of times it'll just pick up the outline of those things, because even though that sign is just barely in front of that bigger sign, it's also in front of the building. So
Oh, so it
we're
might
gonna
pick
watch
that
out.
up. Sure.
Out of their way. But yeah, I'll take a look at it just to see if it picked up the shapes. And again, even those windows back there, it's going to pick up on those windows, and it's always going to try to make it look like a person.
Right.
I called the developers to make sure like what I was doing out here was legitimate. I had the sensitivity turned way down, but just enough for us to be able to catch things.
Yeah.
Anything with leaves is not your friend.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
So
All
not
leaves
pointing
are,
up at trees.
Leaves are all in front of one another, so it's always
Sure.
going to look like a pirate swinging in there.
Yeah.
So again, leaves are not your friend.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
unfortunately, later on, we're going to be near an ivy wall, so it's going to be covered in leaves.
Okay.
So just kind of keep that in mind, too.
If there was something over there, would it be good to go back, or do you think it would have left if I walked away?
They never stand still.
Yeah.
Which is why I have you guys all moving about right now.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I'm going to follow up with Bob and see what kind of
Cool.
ratings he's got.
I'll go
Bob, you
somewhere
got
different.
anything?
I had a like 37.
Ooh. I see you. I see you. It's just a building. Are you seeing anything? Okay. Do you hear anything, Chuck?
Do you want to take out? This is so hard to listen to.
Sure. Do you want to swap for a sec?
Yeah.
I got 50. I got 160. So I need Charlotte or Marianne.
And how much?
160.
Oh, Katie just
Probably need to be up there.
jerk over. Oh, me and Katie just swapped. Katie and I. Oh, that's a tree. Oh, that's a thing. Oh, that's a thing. Anybody want to come over and see this? Because this is a thing.
Oh, what the fuck? That might just be the
Picking up the tree.
Oh, that's the tree? It had arms, legs, and
It's
nose.
always going to try to put a person.
Okay.
That's the way it's designed. But good catch, though.
It's evil.
So have you heard any voices, by the way?
Yes.
I just want to make sure we're we got a nice balance of AM and FM.
Yeah.
Just can't make them out.
Yes.
Another tree. It's the ghost of Katie.
Where's Katie at now?
She's over there.
Let's see what she's hearing. So, Katie, are you getting the gist of that?
It's not picking up Noah. I'm recording you.
You swapped for Katie, huh?
I did. It was that job was really hard. It's not picking you up because you're so close. There was a very human-like figure that looked like a tree, like over here. It was like up there.
What are the pink things?
That's it picking it up. It's that.
Oh.
That's a tree.
Yeah.
So does she kind of give you the heads up on how this thing works? It just picks up on everything in front of something else. And leaves. Anything with leaves is not your friend. So that's kind of the gist of it. That spirit box isn't easy, is it?
No. I found one. It's Dad. It's the ghost of Dad. You can dance now. See your entire body. It looks really stupid because it just looks like you're.
Say we yank everybody back. Come on back, guys. those stop buttons, give your hands a break, and then, like I said, just try to be discreet when the tours are coming through. Philadelphia Alley. So this place used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. I say some because dueling was illegal, and I'm actually taking this out of my route this year, so I do add a new space every year and take one out. I'm taking this one out because every ghost tour that comes down here, it's kind of a staple. I like to give the different locations, as you guys are obviously finding out with empty parking lots so far. But anyway, here's how this story goes. We're all going to tell the same story. I'm just going to give you more details because you're not on a campfire marshmallow ghost tour like down the road there, right? So, did I say that out loud? Holy shit, I did. But anyway, Mary Ann heard you. I know she did. She can also hear him down there and call it screaming in her ear. Here's how this goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. There's her first RI on yours, Mindy. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you listening to Spirit Boxes while you're here, which you would be the only one, Katie, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. We get it all the time because it's part of his name, Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. Anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of his cash flow that she just got. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. And on his way into town, the coachman he had set him up to be robbed and killed. It's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver, by the way. But anyway, somebody was walking by the scene what was about to happen. His name, Ralph Isaacs. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, so that's why we look for it. I will tell you, this is the reason why I have that device. I was getting the letters RI all the time on regular Spirit Boxes. I wanted to verify it, and we've gotten it about half a dozen times in the past 8 or 9 months. So take that for what it's worth. Only when I bring up Ralph, though. Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. There's a gunman inside. Come with me. We're going to go to my friend's house at 59 Church Street where you can rent a room and you'll be safe. Good to go. Doc took him up on the offer, and the two gentlemen became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. Amanda gets wind of this, and she's coming down so they could be married, and Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. So I'm going to tell you that every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. I will tell you that we've caught whistles down here, not to mention whistles from a spirit box, the word doctor coming right after in a commercial. So the whistling part of the song, and then doctor in a commercial. Doctor, we get it all the time, dozens of times, in fact. Anyway, back to Dr. Ladd and Raleigh. They go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. They go see Richard III one night, Shakespeare, and on the way home, they're arguing over the new actress because they couldn't discuss her at the play. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph did not. They start arguing, and then Ralph is then insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. It got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Told you Ralph has friends around town. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, tells them to place an ad in the newspaper, telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor saw this ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Duelers Alley. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind, this whole argument started over an actress. I just like to point that out because it's really silly and dumb. Anyway, the two gentlemen came down, and they took the 10 paces away from each other. They turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air and shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight and make his point. But Ralph has his one bullet still left in his flintlock, and he put it in the kneecap of the doctor. The doctor doesn't die, but he fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786. After refusing medical treatment. I say it that way because I like to point out two things. First off, it's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different than what they are now, and he's a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but he failed because he died. Now, I don't know how far that story coming down. See how I said like every tour comes down here? That's why I don't like to always come to the space. But anyway, so every tour will tell you, as quiet as it is, as silent as it was, to listen for those whistles. Again, we've gotten it in a number of ways, so kind of take that for what it is. But what I will tell you is if you're going to try this on your own, because I don't know how long you guys are going to be here in town, and you walk all the way through this alley, and you use the voice recorders on your phone, just keep in mind that every local knows the story. So anybody walking up on Cumberland Street or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I used to do it every single night when my garage was over here. And it was all, of course, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I may have heard an echo back. Who knows? But just kind of keep that in mind if you're going to do it on your own. I also can't take you all the way through to the end of this alley because I've actually been kicked out of here. Let's talk about that because that's the fun part of the story, everybody. So, Also shows you my extensive research. Marianne's cracking up over there because she can hear everything. I love it. This alley didn't go all the way through the way we came in. There was a wall up there. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. This used to be called Cow Alley before it was Doolow's Alley. So imagine a bunch of cows and chickens down here. So what does that mean for you? Down at the end of the alley, those bricks are older than the ones you're standing on. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave clothing. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there in one of those bricks, along with fingerprint swipes from others. I used to take my people down there for kind of a history lesson, nothing paranormal. I want you to keep in mind that I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that kid. I knew nothing was going to happen. November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 is huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's going to happen. I'm shooing them along also because it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful, not realizing I was out of bounds with doors. So, the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the car that night and her dad's getting yelled at. She was all about it. So the next day, well, we just moved on, by the way. We just got away from him. The next day was Thanksgiving. I was born on Thanksgiving simply because I worked for the biggest retailer in the world and upper management. And you guys like to fight over towels. I don't work on Thanksgiving, ever. Again. So the next day, I called my partner, and that was the 28th. And I kind of told him what happened. He laughed at me, too. And he said, you're only allowed to go down halfway, dude. That's the limit for tours. It's residential past that. You got to reroute your group. Here's what I told my group that night, Black Friday. Exactly, 3 years ago. I told them, I don't believe in the next story. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're discussing pirates next, in case you haven't caught on to that.
Okay, I just got Jack left. Jack first and then one.
I'll explain both of those
Okay.
when we get to our next location. They're going to make complete sense.
All right.
Love it.
That was a pirate.
Yeah. No, that's an actor's name.
Wait, what's the pirate? Wow, are you getting the Blackbeard?
Well, here's the thing, is the black thing is relevant to Blackbeard, depending on what else we get. He does have a history here in Charleston, and we hear it all the time. The name Jack is one of the characters' names in the next story. So, yeah, I'm excited about both of those, because again, they're literally across the street. So, it's kind of how this one goes. But anyway, back to, where was I? Oh, I'm a vampire guy, right? So, before we left the space, a person with a spirit box hears the name Anne. I just tell them which pirate they're going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. It's kind of like, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. We get up and around the corner, I told them a little bit I did know about pirates. Remember, I'm not into pirates back then. I am now, very much so. But somebody else heard the number 300 coming out of another spirit box. I didn't know what that one meant. I wrote it down. I did the research for them while I'm going through their data. Turns out we were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. I was actually kind of pissed off when I found that out. The reason why is because I didn't really want to do pirates, because pirate stories, I have a master's degree in creative writing. I need facts and data, especially when I'm doing this. If I'm writing fiction, I still like facts and data to twist up and turn it into fiction. With pirates, it's pirate lore. So it was written 100 years after the alleged occurrences. I've read more books on pirates, watched more documentaries on pirates, and I'm now playing video games based on pirates because I want to make sure I have as many different angles of this story as I possibly can to see where things stick. So what we're going to be discussing at the next location came from a minimum of 2 resources, mostly books, just so you know, not video games and movies. Now, when we get over there, it's a 50-50 shot that she'll be there at the same time we are, but we actually have some pretty good stuff already starting. Katie's probably missing things in real time because she's focused on me. Have you heard anything crazy in the background? Does anybody else want to give that thing a listen before we leave this space? Because it's not going to be as quiet around the corner. We're going to use it at another space later on.
Right now, I'm hearing AC units.
Yeah, and it's right behind you, so I'm not surprised. I was hoping that it wasn't going to kick on based on the temperature, but yeah. So I'll go ahead and let me just hold that for just a second and just stop it so we can move around the corner. I'll take it off your hands. I like to stop it before we. Craziness. So I'll take that from
That
you.
is a phenomenal machine.
Don't you wish we all could hear like that?
That is so cool.
I've only had this for like, I don't know, 3 weeks. So, yeah, kind of a crazy thing. I bought it for a specific location, and then one of my guests suggested that we use it here just so we can actually capture those places. You guys ready to learn about Rated R Pirates now? Yeah. All right, let's do it. We're going to go cut through that door. Just writing your own missiles.
Did nobody notice the specific listen I was doing? No, it was Lucy. Yes. Thank you, Aunt Mandy.
So.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. What's the key? I don't know exactly. It's a different key from. Cruel Summer. I was just trying to do the song. It's okay. Oh my gosh. We should do that down the alley. It'd be really funny. I saw a video of people playing that edit on like 8 separate screens at once, and it was so funny. I've seen people manage to do the most insane things on screen, like pull up AO3 on a calculator. What? Yeah. What's AO3? Never mind. Is it a website? How do you?
Did I have said that any other time?
No. I need to see.
Where's
the word list?
Bleeded me dry like a goddamn vampire.
Dang. Let me take a look at that word list real quick. I'm gonna see if something ties in. To something
We just sang a song with the word fame in it. Sorry.
Still gonna tell everything. Alright. When the number 99 shows up over here, I don't always tell the story, but I wait for something to kind of be popped up with it. But obviously you guys are getting the bonus. Again, I told you, I never know where things are gonna go until you guys tell me what you're hearing. So this corner literally has like 15 stories on it. So the fun part for me is I get to research what's real and what's not.
Well,
Yes.
as soon as we were walking up here, I turned this off, mute, and I'm like, who's here? Who's here? There are 2 male voices, but I can't.
Like out of your own ears, not from the spirit box?
No, from here.
Oh. Did you hear anything along the way here? Because I heard you had it running.
Yeah, no, I did not.
Oh, really? I don't know who that is. I just flat out put that one out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we are near a cemetery, so I always look at the cemetery records when we have names show up here. So let's kind of get into the 99 bit. Every ghost tour stops, their last stop right across the street, so you guys have to take a picture. By the way, I am excited about a 2.5 here, so if you get anything at a 2.5 or higher, I'm stoked, just so you know. But across the street is the other part of this cemetery. There's 2 halves of it because native Charlestonians get buried next to the church, everybody else gets buried on the other side of this wall. That's kind of how this works. By the way, your 7th Vice President, John Calhoun, is buried on the other side of here because he's not from here. So he's not a native Charlestonian. They actually shuffled his sarcophagus back and forth trying to figure out where the hell he was supposed to go. Just turns out he's not from here. But anyway, all the ghost tours go across the street because there's a sign right inside the cemetery that says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. That's because they don't want jerks like me trying to recreate what happened. So here's how this goes. 1888, a young lady dies. 6 days. Oh, didn't we have the number 6 on there? Yeah. How long ago was that? See how this describe my memory? I know we had a 6 somewhere. Okay, we're still back at 50 then. Okay. But anyway, she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. It's a very sad story, but 99 years later, in 1987, local photographers taking pictures of the cemeteries put in a book together, and he captures a full apparition in one of his pictures. It's 1987. He doesn't have the tech that we have now to be able to figure out what the hell's going on. So he sends it to Kodak. since the young people in our group know what the hell Kodak is, okay. So I normally have to explain it. A lot of times the preteens think it's a bear. So take that for what it is. Anyway, he sends it to Kodak, and Kodak can confirm the type of camera that he took this picture from, and that he did not alter the photo in any way, shape, or form. So, when a guy like me that studies these kind of things, you type in Google top 100 apparitions ever caught, this normally falls into the top 100. It is very clear. I don't always show it because it is cursed to females. So the only thing I'm going to ask is I show you guys this photograph that you do not touch my tablet. They say the females that handle it, even in a digital format, kind of like even if you have the original picture or digital, same symptoms like we talked about at the beginning: headache, nausea, dizziness. The other thing is if it's a pregnant female handling it, not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story with the stillborn baby. I'm not going to be the guy where 9 months later somebody had a great honeymoon and then I curse their family. That's why I don't always tell this story. It's a cursed photo. I don't have any proof of it, but I don't play around with that kind of thing. So, let's find the photograph. And then I'll show you guys. I'll go 2 by 2 so you guys can see the apparition. There it is. All right. So full photo that he took, and then your apparition is of a woman crying over her own grave with the baby basket next to her. So again, 99 years later on her exact day. So full picture. Apparitions right here. You can see a woman crying over her own grave. I also like to point out the baby basket because it is very clear. Right there.
Wow.
So this is why every ghost story ends the floor over there, because they have something to show. So obviously what's to show for you guys is in your hands. So that's kind of a, I hate to say gimmick for you guys of what draws you here, but it's usually the equipment. That's why I don't always tell this story, and I definitely don't end there because they all do. Anyway, let's talk about why we're here. By the way, thank you for not trying to zoom in further on my tablet. A lot of people try to do that, forgetting that I told them not to touch the damn tablet. We're here to talk about that little tiny building over there. I'll breeze through this story so we can get to work. We will spread out in this lot like what we did back at the Pinckney Mansion site. I'll do a few round robins, same exact kind of mentality. Those are not crosses on that little building up there. Those are earthquake bolts.
Okay.
So if you don't know what they are, they're basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, you could turn those turnbuckles and it's supposed to tighten the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you guys have seen them, yeah, you've seen them all over town in like lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of bullshit. It's part of our Charleston charm. Even the apartment building, the brick building behind it, also has earthquake bolts. So as we get closer to it, you guys will notice them. They're on every single floor. So it's just kind of a funny thing. The only reason I bring all this up is because that's part of the reason why we're here. Those earthquake bolts were the first set that Charleston ever put in because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713.
Wow.
We are here simply because this building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here. So this is something of what I call a familiar. For those of you that watch the TV shows, they have that new Boo Buddy. It's basically a teddy bear with the blinky light EMF meter in there. They use that to attract a child ghost because the child would recognize it. And think of that same mentality with this building. We don't have any buildings this old, and especially from Anne Bonny's era. So that's why we're here. The hope is that she's going to be here the same time that we are.
So 1713.
Correct.
Yes. But you said the earthquake in 1886. We don't have earthquakes. So clearly, 1713, someone was worried about it.
No, they put those earthquake bolts in 1893.
You know what though, Bob? There was an earthquake in Savannah in the 1600s too. So I don't know. But that was 100 years earlier, so I don't know who
I want
would
to say
know.
those specifically, they were trying to protect it because they knew the age of it, and that was from the original Charleston.
Yeah, because it was already, what, 170 years old?
Right, exactly. So, good question. All right, so let's kind of get into the middle of this and the whole Anne Bonny bit. I know, Mindy's so eager to get started.
Oh, I thought we were getting.
No, not yet. We've got about 5 minutes. I'll breeze through it like as fast as I can because I know everybody gets eager around this point because I've already told you one story and then it's Sue Howard Hardy story. So, 1708, right in the middle of this building's construction, because yes, this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Sure. Okay, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was the wife that she kicked him out of the country by boat? There's no plane yet. So, With that said, they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation up there. Mom died pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Ann down here to Charlestown to sell things from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was said to be a badass even back then. At the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, nothing is ever going to be exact unless it's a specific date. They say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Can't tell you how many times we've had servant, knife, and belly show up on 3 different devices, and the other 2 people don't know what's going on. Keep that in mind. So, fast forward, the building's done in 13, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through town. Anne is pretty stoked. She's going to fall in love with one of these gents so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. First guy she falls in love with, and I said first that way because there's a handful. We're going to go through them all. That's what makes the story so damn good. First guy is James Bonney. Now you already see where this one's going because I've already mentioned her pirate name. Dad didn't approve because he's a filthy pirate, so they ran away to Jamaica. They got married, and Cormac became Anne Bonny. That's where the pirate name came from. However, when they get down there, she realizes that her new husband is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. Now, this is the guy they base your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you're wondering who this guy actually is. He has his own crew, he has his own ship, and wants to be part of that crew. You can't put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why? The blank stares.
A lot of guys.
Not end up well.
I usually ask that awkward question on purpose to see who immediately looks down and shuffles their feet like, I'm not answering that. It's bad luck. So, family-friendly tour, everybody. You guys, all heads are in the gutter. It's bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. She just wants to be part of the crew. But we're all adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. You guys were already on the right track. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So before she starts to show her pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here. These friends of mine will help you. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. So if you want to ask questions about it while you're here, it's a direct answer. It's personal to you only because I can't prove it. She also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. Now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. Her name, Mary Reed. You also had the word Reed on your, and it's spelled the exact same way. And that was way earlier, so that's why I was kind of like, too early stuff. Anyway, her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time frame, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks because they don't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. Obviously, 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships with cannons. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and says, I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you would be hanged like a dog. The word dog shows up a lot in communication devices. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so violently on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front and reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge could give a damn. They're female. They're still pirates. He's going to hang them anyway. We plead our bellies, was the last thing they shouted, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed. We don't really know. She has 4 children, dies at the age of 84.
Wow.
Very abrupt. Yep, even older than Eliza Pinckney back there, same time frame, same time period. Now, Mary Reed dies 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from wherever pirates die from, and a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I'm going to say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Most books will tell you that it's something simple like a fever. So, here's what I left out of the story for you guys to be able to work with. Everything else is fair game. This is not a prominent English woman that we need to tiptoe around. Again, if you go rogue, I don't care how you get these answers. Kick her in the shins for all I care. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. I'm trying to figure out what those are. I also left out the name of the ship that Anne joined for Calico Jack. So the ship name is key. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland. I didn't even come close to bringing that up. And the color of her hair. So if you're struggling with a spirit box, it is red. That's usually why I give that one out, because it's an easy one to find. If somebody's struggling with a spirit box, I usually say, try to find out the color of her hair. It's a nice, easy 1-syllable answer to try to find. We're going to spread out, and again, we're going to have a whole lot. Just stay away from the 2 vehicles we have left, and try not to film the other tours coming by. Bob, on your end, as far as EMF goes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We have 2 electrical poles in the corners and the parking meters on the other side. I usually only get excited about the back 3/4 of this because the closer you get to the line. All right. How's your thing going? You have all
Just like
3
so
dots on
really
there.
proud of that hair color thing. Because I was just like,
You know what I call gay pirates?
no.
Garrett's.
Garrett's?
Garrett's.
Garrett's. They're actually lesbian pirates. So they're
Less Brooks.
lesbians. Pyrians.
Lesbians.
That's just lesbians.
With a P.
Pesbians? It's really bad. You're gonna be like, what's pirates and gays? Pez. Yeah. Dad, I got really excited for a sec. It was just you. Do a little dance. You look really dumb. Because on the screen it just looks like... Well, what new words have you gotten, Mom?
I got mother.
Oh, that's important. Noah. Pillar's not a person. Someone's whistling.
Have you got anything interesting? Truly.
No, not really.
I think we got the most boring jobs. I got the most boring ones. It is boring. Okay, at least you have something to show. I have literally, because this is just a camera. What am I looking for?
I don't know. I think it's just a purple-tinted camera.
I've literally seen absolutely nothing. It's a light. Of course there's a light. There's a lamp right there.
Oh my gosh! It counts the shadows. It's us. It's you.
Hi.
It's us.
Dun, dun,
Dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun 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 dun. What is someone doing? Dad is over there.
Look at that.
Yeah,
It's a sexy building.
that's a sexy building. That's a skibbity building.
Shut up.
Lucy, I'm really mad. 'Cause it's a tree, but it looks like a person. I think that was a failed attempt.
Where is an orb? I don't see orbs.
Orbs!
The camera may pick it up.
No, something I hate is when people call eyes orbs.
You don't have to get that far over.
There is no orb.
Think about jumping. Lucy, hold my camera.
No.
From the top. I want to do a dance.
Eyes always look. The one cool thing about this camera is that eyes look really creepy in it. Like look in the camera, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie. Okay, the thing is with these cameras is that it makes hair really light and makes eyes really dark. So it makes you look really creepy. Yeah. What do you think? Okay, you hold it 20%.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah. Okay, step back a little bit, and then look at the camera. It looks like a horror movie. Like eyes like super dark and everything else super light. No, you make your eyes really wide. Yeah, you look like a horror movie character.
Wait, Lucy, do it again. No, backwards.
Don't do the thing. Just look in the camera. No, you're ruining it. Okay, we're done. Oh, yeah, I'm recording. We're recording for 8 minutes.
Ooh.
We only got 19 minutes left.
Till 11?
19 minutes left.
Till 11.
Yes.
Really? I think it will go overtime. This is only our
What?
This is only our 4th location. It's 5 to 7.
Where's Katie? I don't know what she's hearing.
Katie's over there.
Is she hiding? And Marianne, I want to hear about it. The biggest orb I've ever caught is in this location. Just so you know.
You got an ethics project.
Katie, what do you
How
got?
often do they go? Tell me if you want to swap, Mom. Don't be shy. Because all you get to do is look at cool words.
silence. It's just that.
Was
Hi,
your
guys.
friend?
You ask it stuff?
Yeah.
What?
You gotta talk to the ghost, see if they say something to you. Ask it to do what you want. Did you?
Alright, what's going on with Marianne?
Well, I'll tell you. I keep getting these on here. It's very interesting. She had MR on her thing, and then I started asking him, like, if she
Did you think it's little flashing? Did you think I didn't see with little flashing lights? At least I did see my next outside of the room. So it was in I think Anne actually loves my room dancer.
Don't invoke the name of the set. It would go restless.
Really?
What's your favorite child? And I can't remember.
Flashing lights. He's thinking about lights outside of the room. I'm thinking about something. I'm afraid of something. See you come riding. I've been watching the know.
Talking with you.
I will serve back to
We're gonna actually all head over towards the wall so we can wrap this one up. Noah, did you get anything nutty on that guy?
Not especially, unfortunately, no.
Was it over?
Yeah, that's the mother of many.
How often does it switch? Every minute?
No. Sometimes it's up there for a while. Yeah. So why is this roof so strange?
This place was, I don't normally get into the architecture because it bores people. So, this building is shaped this way because the walls are 3 feet thick. So it's based on a groin system. So it's got a groin vaulted ceiling on the inside. So the walls being 3 feet thick, basically the way it's made on the top is because there's sand underneath those shingles. The reason why is because we're 3 blocks away from the water. So if it gets attacked from a Revolutionary War ship or a pirate ship, it's going to be, it's going to be hard to penetrate those walls. But if it does go through and blows up the gunpowder, the sand is designed to go up in the air and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. It's another great idea, but that one doesn't work either. However, we did have another battery or gunpowder magazine down by the battery, and obviously being much closer to the water, it did get hit and it blew up. The sand went up, but the building burned to the ground. What I will tell you is that the sand from the time of this place being built in the early 1700s is still there because they did some renovations to the shingles to make sure, because this is a museum now, so they wanted to make sure it was going to be safe. So they had to fix some of the shingles and realize that the sand is still there. It's not being compressed, so it turns into glass, so the sand doesn't disintegrate. So that sand is still up there. So it's a very interesting, it's a great question. So I appreciate you guys visiting. Bob over there, you guys are keeping me on my toes, like trying to remember years and all of those things. So, by the way, remember I told you guys about that heated warning at the top of our night? Headache, the nausea, the dizziness? Part of the reason why I do that is because of this location. Here's why. 2 years ago, month of September, probably about the same temperature we're in now, I took my group to the back, and the kid next to me, he starts to faint. I call him a kid because he's probably like 21, 22 years old. I have to pick this kid up by his armpit so he doesn't fall and hit his head on the ground. He's fainting on us. We bring him over to the wall, we set him down, get him some water. He's feeling better, and this was the last stop at that time. So he's like, let's just finish this up, I'm good to go. So I told him the story, and I spread everybody out just like what you guys just did. But these two pull me aside and say, Nick, we are two transgender males. We are two females, just like males, just like Anne and Mary in the story. This is the reason why it made sense, but it's still unexplainable. It's the weird shit that I see, guys. If I know that there's a psychic or a medium in the group, I make sure that they do not get a headset at spirit box. That's two different kinds of messaging. It's going to mess with them. I see them faint all the time because it's too much. So again, this is why I go through these things, because I've seen some weird things. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is not our last stop, so I know some of you that are yawning are like, no, not more. Lucy's like, he's calling me out again.
Some of us are ecstatic. Katie.
She is.
Was that a wait?
So, and Bonnie's answers. One of the few pictures you can find of this young lady where she actually has a shirt on. The reason why is she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. Kind of a haha, you got killed by a girl. Told you she was a badass, right? So I get a lot of teenage boys on this. I don't need angry moms leaving. So you guys get the point of why I showed this picture. The name of her parents, William Cormac Mary Brennan. This is not another subliminal trick with the name Mary. We just happen to have two in the story. Mary Brennan, by the way, was a servant for the Cormac family. Now you can all speculate and guess how Dad met Mom, and you'd be correct. That's another 30-minute scandal we don't need to cover. The name of the city where Anne grew up was Cork, Ireland. Obviously, you've seen that her hair color was red. Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of. Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. So, his father was a tailor, which means textiles were important to the Rackham family. Calico Jack basically means fancy jacket, depending on which version of Pirates that you're reading or whatever book you're reading. Some even say it means fancy pants. I don't see where pants and Jack come from, but whatever. But the name of his ship was called the Kingston. I do not expect the word Kingston to come out of most of the communication devices we're using tonight, except for Mary Ann's, because that one will pick up more disembodied voices than the rest of y'all's. Basically, the word king would suffice on any other device. It's kind of like a what color is a big red barn mentality. So if you got a direct answer of king, I would accept that as being paranormal for sure, because it's so specific. So, two more spots to go through. The next stop, we're going to be doing a little listening test. It is a murder mystery. It is the new space. We're only going to be there for about 5 to 8 minutes. And then the last location, we're going to be doing the Estes method. So is anybody familiar with what this is? Exactly. So here's how this works. So basically, I'm going to take Katie, and we're going to blindfold her. And she's going to be wearing those headphones loud enough so she's not going to be able to hear me talk. So I'm going to be asking her questions as if she were the ghost, and she's not going to know the history of the space. The secondary person, because there's a second person, Miss Mindy, you are going to be wearing a virtual reality headset. And you're going to be seeing images come through on my phone that is based off of the EMF, just like your device already works now, and Bob's. It's going to translate it into an image. The hope here is that it's going to be complementary to whatever Katie is telling me. You're also not going to know the history of the space. So the two of you are going to be sitting together on a bench. I don't like to leave a young lady sitting alone on a bench in a dark park, all by her lonesome. So you two will sit on a bench, and I'll take the other 6, teach them the quick 5-minute history. We'll come back and talk to her as if she were the ghost, and hopefully you're going to see images that complement that. The cool thing for you guys is you'll get all the images back, and obviously the full recording from the spirit box. Not to mention we're going to be videoing the whole thing because Lucy's camera is going to give us the best shots, so she's going to have a part in this as well. So let's go learn about this murder mystery first, and then I'm not going to tell you anything about the last location, so that way these two stay in the dark. Let's go do this. Mary Ravenel, the person who fell, dies on the table, and they don't know how. They take her to autopsy, and they find this little mark going underneath her arm. But there's a gunshot wound in between her ribs. Once they did the full autopsy, they found that there was some kind of .38 special caliber bullet. I'm not a gun and ammo guy, so excuse my ignorance. Goes all the way through her rib cage and stopped her heart. So, the killer got away, but a few years later, after some tragedy, whether it was a hurricane or a flood here in Charleston, I can't remember which, they actually found one of these special guns that can hold those special type of bullets, which there weren't many made in that time frame, but there's no confession. We have no idea how this woman she was targeted or anything like that. The only thing we do know is that her jewelry was still intact. So I know this jewelry bit is kind of a weird thing that I bring up, but we've been getting weird images, just like Mindy's about to go through at the next location, relevant to when we are asking about, like somebody would bring up, like, wasn't the murder nearby? And we would get images of the jewelry, and it would be on, there would be 11 pearls and 1 pendant. I look at at that as 11-1. The date of this murder was November 1st of 1933, which is another reason why I wanted to start doing this in November. Hopefully, we were going to stir up some questions. So, here's why I ask you. What do you want to know? Because I don't know which questions to fully ask. I'm looking for the common things out of the groups.
Maybe she wasn't the target.
Okay, maybe it was an accident.
Could have been. I mean, if nothing was stolen from her, or maybe the Kurt was shooting at someone else.
There's a theory on that, so I like it.
Do we know very much about her life?
She was a very prominent woman here. So if you guys came...
Ravenel is a famous name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you came in from Mount Pleasant, that big giant bridge you guys drove on, that's the Ravenel Bridge.
Yeah.
So, very prominent name. The Ravenel family is still alive and kicking and in politics. So, keep that in. Yes, we know a lot about her life. And she was married into the family. So she wasn't a direct descendant, but she was married in.
Did she have like a controversial personality? Or
Nope.
anything?
She actually ran a lot of the local clubs around here and even hosted Robert Frost at a poetry convention here.
Husband have a mistress.
Not to my knowledge, but he was already dead.
Did anybody benefit from her death?
Just probably her descendants, whoever got whatever hand-me-downs were there, any heirlooms.
When you said she ran a lot of clubs, were any gambling clubs? Was she
No, we're talking like...
was like a debt to her?
No, I'm talking like clubs at the church, at the country club,
Oh,
those kind of
yes,
those kind of
proper
clubs.
club.
Proper clubs.
How many children?
One that I know of.
How old?
At the time, I don't know. That's a good question. Anything coming up on our word list, by the way, as we're sitting here talking about this?
Movement, gaze, sup,
I got RX.
Start.
when we were talking about
Aaron.
Brazil.
Okay.
Aaron?
And
Anthony, I got an Anthony.
Oh, now I got IV.
IV and RX.
Yeah.
Definitely doctory terms.
Little medical.
Definitely medical terms. You're hearing
What is
anything coming
RX?
out of there, or is it just all kind of craziness?
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's like car sounds and stuff and what's
But it's pretty intense, isn't it? Especially with this many cars going. So this is why I don't always choose to do this on a Friday or Saturday, but as we were approaching, I was kind of like, oh, it's actually pretty quiet up at the corner. We should be good to go. So Katie, we'll give you just a minute to listen in, see if you got anything, and then we're going to wrap this one up. Did you hear anything out of that? Okay. Anybody else want to give this crazy headset a try?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I want to
Before we
see
get
what
out of
it's
this
like.
It is a lot.
Invasion. That's dramatic.
Your word list is pretty light tonight, I'll be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
Again, I hope you guys appreciate the honesty where I'm not here making stuff up.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
if you have a great word list, I'd be like, that's a great word list. But this one tonight is pretty light.
You're doing all you can.
I'm doing all I can.
No, it's not you. It's the activity of the city. It's the
Got another IV. I don't know what you
another IV. That's usually when things come up in doubles, I pay attention for sure. So I'm definitely writing down the RX and IV at this point. So maybe Dr. Finger wants us to pay attention to something a little bit further. It's nuts, isn't it? All right. Anybody else before we go blindfold some people? Gonna keep listening in on that?
whoa.
Yeah, it's loud.
It is. I'm not gonna talk.
Well, then let me go ahead and stop it. And then we'll start in. Do you want to listen to it at the next location?
If it's helpful.
It's always helpful to listen in.
Sure.
So hang on to it. Grab your other camera. And let's go blindfold some kids. That sounds like a good time, right?
So.
to the stairs.
I'm going to get you a blindfold so they can work on the project. So you can figure it out while I'm teaching the rest of these folks the history. So here's how this is going to work out. They're going to sit here for a few minutes. I'm going to take you guys over by this monument and teach you guys the rest of the history. It's only going to take about 4 to 5 minutes. Okay. And we'll come back and talk to them as if they were a ghost, and we'll wrap this night up. Okay. So, all right, let's do this. Oh, I know. Have fun.
What is this building right here? These windows are like so thick. It's decorative.
Can you take a look at this?
Peachy.
Here's how this space works. So first time I came in here, this one was the new one for this year. So I've been coming here for about a year, and I only had 2 people, and I played with them overnight. When everybody comes in here, as far as ghost tourism, just tell me whatever you hear on the spirit box, and figure it out. So they hear the year 1828, the name Henry, and I'm using Ham's word list, and it has the name Tim on it. Behind me is a bust of Henry Timrod, born in 1828. Well, hot damn, there's my ghost. So here's how his story goes. Again, very short. No.
Sounds like Nimrod.
It does sound like Nimrod. But the man is sick through most of his life, and he's a writer. That's the first thing you need to know about him. But being born in 1828, he's old enough to go fight in the Civil War. So he goes to fight for the Confederate side. He goes out to the battlefield. His comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They sent him home knowing he was a writer and said, go be the voice of the war. So they wanted him to write about what was going on in the battlefield. So he came home, Charleston, started writing some poetry about what was going on out there to let people know what it looked like. So he became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. It's a pretty prestigious title for those of you that are not familiar with the writing world. So, of course, Bob knows. So, we've had a then talk. Now, a couple years go by, he has a son. His son's name is Willie. He's born on Christmas Eve, but dies 9 months later. I know I'm always telling you guys about dead kids, right? But at the same time, it's very sad for him and his wife, Katie, and they're mourning for him. He's not writing as much, and a couple years go by, and another writer friend of his, Paul Hamilton Payne, realizes he's not publishing as much as what he was before because he worked for a newspaper. So go use my cottage in Columbia. That's right in the middle of the state, a couple hours from here for us. He goes out to that cottage, and he tries to get back on track. His last page he ever wrote, and the last line he ever wrote was, "Beholder of brief mortality." Basically, dear person with a short life. And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis, and he died right there on the page, pen in hand. Now, the interesting part about this story is that blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. Now, I will tell you, on the way in here, Katie already heard the blood of my people. So I obviously have that one written down for obvious reasons, because we do call this the Blood Book. They show it one day a year at the Charleston Library Society, because that's where his collection is held. And you can go see it on Halloween if you're a member of the society. The internet's beautiful, so I'm going to show you what this page looks like, and then we're going to go talk to Katie as if she's Henry Timrod. And have you guys ever seen like AI generate images before?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, spirits. Here's his last page. Beholder,
wow.
brief mortality, cough, cough.
That
death.
is weird. It looks like Gollum.
Yeah.
What's weird is
No,
one
it looks
evening
like-
during one of these sessions with the images, I actually had an image. It looked like somebody like crocheted like something in the shape of a baby, like looked like a baby but crocheted, and it was in this exact shape. I was able to take that picture and make it opaque and lay it over top of this to hand it to those people in their data set. It was almost identical. It was crazy. So again, kind of a nutty thing. Like we all realized it like right away as soon as we looked at the images. All right, so when we get over there, obviously EMF is a big deal. We've had triple digits in this location, so definitely keep us on top of that. So Charlotte, you're actually going to be sitting on the bench, one bench away, to see if you get any voices in the background. okay? So obviously we'll be able to hear my session with them very clearly on that recording, but you're going to be listening to everything else to kind of see what's going on. Spirit box on your end, Marianne, is a no because I'm going to stay focused on them. Lucy, you're going to keep your cameras, steadfast on them because they're going to want to watch this later on. And of course, you're just going to shout out whatever words you have to see if things come up that are relevant. All right, let's do this.
Oh my god.
Freaking egg kids.
I normally tell you do not put the blindfold on, and you did not figure it out properly. You have You did try. You just have a small head. Most people would have looked at this and said, that's not going to fit my head.
Well, we said we tried.
It's a Batman mask. These actually go over your ears.
That's what I said, remember?
So hang on to that for just a minute. I got to give you guys at least a few tips and tricks of what to expect during this whole session. So Mindy, we're going to start with yours because yours is nice and simple. You're going to basically see images 2D. Nothing's going to jump out at you in your face. And you're just going to simply explain in a very brief manner what you see. 2 ladies on a bench, tree in the background. Keep it nice and simple. In the event that she's not saying much, I may ask you probing questions like, what's the time era? What are they wearing? That kind of thing. But if I don't ask those questions, just keep it nice and simple. Just because, again, she's not going to be able to hear us, so you're going to be basically talking over that kind of thing. And we already have
I
one
saw
thing that's
something
coming up.
over there, Bob, when you were pointed. There was something
I
moving.
haven't put my phone in.
Probably a tree.
Is that a tree?
So, I'm going to put my
It's the same
phone in
shape.
here.
Bro, what the heck is that?
I don't know what that is.
Katie, with yours, what's basically going to happen is you're going to tell us in real time what you hear as you hear it.
I don't see
You hear
anything
tree, you
in my
say
eyes.
This is also a place where it's okay to actually answer in yes/no answers because you don't know what I'm asking. I might ask for a ghost.
That's still right there. It's doing the same thing.
So if you hear weird sounds, that counts too. If you hear a cat meowing, tell me that you hear a cat meowing.
It looks like the
I'm only
branches.
going to keep you guys under for 10 minutes.
Why is it moving?
Do you care what she heard?
Why is it dancing?
I will.
It's going like.
I just want to make sure I got the
I don't know.
explanations out before.
It was a cool
But not all the branches are doing that.
Well, should we tell you now or later?
Go for it.
That's why it's weird.
Your first one was we can get out of our
Hey, Nick, could I ask you?
We can get out of our own way,
Okay.
and then enemies. Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, there was just the.
We're getting a lot of activity. Yeah, it's popping up.
might be the tree.
But the other branches aren't doing anything.
We do get Mr. Timrod likes to poke out from the tree.
Okay.
So I would
It's just the same place. It's not moved. Like, it hasn't shifted. And, like, there's nothing going on that tree. Or that tree. It's just that one.
So I would definitely take some screenshots of that to kind of see what we got going on. Normally, if I have an anomaly that's there for a while at us with your right hand, like I'll ask for something very specific, and we've gotten it at this location.
Okay.
Mindy, your focus, in case things are blurry, there's a dial right here. So you just turn that dial until it's nice and clear. Okay, blindfold for you. Oh, by the way, Katie, when we're done, somebody's going to tap you on the leg that's not me. I'll have somebody else do it. If you're speaking too loud, they're going to tap you on the shoulder. Quiet down if you have neighbors.
Okay.
Got it? I don't think
Tap
we're going
on
to
the
have that
shoulder,
problem.
quiet down. On the knee, I'm done.
Yep, you take everything off yourself so we can discuss. Okay, let's do this. All right, it is. Go ahead and put your headphones on. 11, 17 at this point. I'm going to test a few questions just to make sure she can't hear me. Katie, can you hear me?
4.
Perfect, right on. All right, guys, let's gather around a little bit tighter. Obviously, Bob, you want to keep things going on over there because we don't want to miss that action. Henry, if you are here with us right now, I definitely want you to try to give us something about your occupation, please. Mindy can see what you want us to see. That's the green box. And this is Katie. She can hear whatever you want us to hear. Tell us something about your occupation, please. If the name Katie is bringing up too many bad memories, I'm sorry. But I know when you talk about your life, it's usually good things.
Captive?
Captain. And Mindy, you're going to tell us anything that's not gray smoke.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was getting
Smoke
distracted.
world.
Everybody was, Cuban cigar in there. You might get
Directly?
one image, you might get 10. You never know how this is going to go.
Those affected.
Henry, tell us something about your job, please. What was your occupation? Let's start off nice and simple.
Strength. 20%.
Henry, we're looking for something about your occupation. And how's your word list coming? Anything? Duty.
God as the source.
Henry, let's switch gears. Let's talk about one of your family members. You want to talk about your son, or do you want to talk about your
Business
wife?
owner.
You want to talk about your son, or do you want to talk about your wife?
Servant said no thank you.
There's a lot.
The rain is coming. Man, this is life.
Henry, we're not getting a whole lot from you directly. Did you come here alone tonight? That's a yes/no question.
No way.
I'm gonna take the word no out of that, as he's not alone. Who did you come here with? Who came with you tonight?
Fast delivery.
Henry. Mindy, you got anything?
There's seconds
Ocean.
where the smoke looks like a face, or like there's a face behind it, but I can't really see it.
No,
This Sunday, Panthers, Pythons.
it'll come up as a full-blown image. You'll know when it's not smoke. Henry,
Greg. Got a Greg.
who the hell is Greg?
Gift.
Henry, we don't know a Greg.
$1,000. I don't remember.
I don't remember who Greg is either.
Something sticking.
Henry, tell us.
15 minutes, 15.
No, we're gonna go for 10 minutes. That's how we do this. Henry, who did you bring with you?
Danger.
Henry, who did you bring with you?
Die.
No.
Father. Quick. Night.
Henry, who did you bring with you? So whoever you brought, you're not welcome here. I'm looking to speak with you directly.
Bars. Crowbars.
Let's talk about your son. You want to talk about your son?
Selection.
That's a yes/no question.
Station.
Henry,
Lead.
do you want to talk about your son? You can tell us his name, his birthday, how old he was.
Technical, biblical.
Finally got something?
Yeah, but I can't make out what it
Odds.
is.
Sometimes it takes a second for it to
It
generate.
looks upside down. It's a brick wall with a person.
Minutes.
Maybe a person and a dog. It's like a person leaning against the wall with a horse. Sure, it's a dog.
Incredible opportunity.
Henry, who's in this picture that we see right
Fire. Never. Modern.
now? Henry, I don't know who this person is with the dog. Is that the person you brought with you?
It's not like a perfect person. Like the body looks okay, but there's a head with something on top of that.
Okay. No, they don't stay long. They stay maybe about 8 to 10 seconds.
Believe.
We're definitely sitting against the brick wall, and it's either like really with bright sun or the wall
Everything.
was destroyed.
Reminder.
Henry, we're not getting a whole lot from you tonight. Looks like we're running out of time. We've been under about wrap this up.
University. Locally owned and operated. Desperate. Friends.
Henry, we're gonna wrap this up. Can you give us one more image? Any EMF at all? Anybody watching it?
Zero. All the way
I was
through.
just.
Words? What are we doing on that?
Still great.
Still Greg.
Yeah.
Okay, Henry. We're gonna wrap it up. So no image, Mindy?
No.
Okay. Go ahead and take your headset off.
Thank you guys.
Now we get it. Somebody want to tap her on the leg while we're done? Okay. So this was completely empty. Like nothing.
Really?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, real.
But he did say thank you.
We did get a thank you at the end of it. So let's take a look at this image. So if neither one of you get up, I like to make sure you guys' eyes adjust before you get up in your baby dress on the ground. So let's kind of take a look at this image real quick. One was generating as I was handing it to you. You just probably didn't get a chance to see it because it's hard to see.
I really hope it wasn't just the other group coughing.
This is full session. So the first image, here's that brick wall, everybody. Yeah. So the brick wall, I'm looking at the shape of it. It's very weird.
Wait, brick wall?
That's just weird.
I cannot follow any of this conversation. It was wrapped up by the other thing.
This was the image that was being generated as I was handing over the headset. So we definitely have some archways in here. Like I don't recognize any of this, at least from around town. So again, none of the images to me like make any kind of sense whatsoever.
Right.
You gave us a bunch of gibberish. So again,
Yeah.
I'm always honest about this. So,
Locally owned and operated.
That's what they said.
well, I know you guys laughed at that, but that was the one thing that I was actually excited about.
Really?
Only because there's a big saying around Charleston, watch your headset.
Oh,
It's close to the mics, it'll screech. And by the way, we'll stop that. Nope. Right here. There we go. So the locally owned and operated, like being a native Charlestonian is a big deal around here. So locally owned and operated was the only thing I was excited about because the gentleman we were talking about is from Charleston and he would have been locally owned and operated. So that was really the only thing that you said. Everything was like completely random other than the thank you guys, but the word guys is not a phrase that they would have used back in the 1860s, right? But the thank you is definitely would have taken that as like, I'm going to end this, and you said thank you guys. That's kind of how that went. So again, completely nothing going on here, no EMF. We did get a little bit of a spike of the SLS camera that Bob caught him over there in the corner. So I don't know what anybody else caught with their cameras, but even our word list was really light. That's why I decided to cut it off. And you were only under for about 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, it felt short.
Yeah, and normally it feels short on your end, like about 2 to 3 minutes. So, but I cut it a little bit short because literally nothing going on. So I'm not gonna like waste anybody's time.
I heard father.
I just heard the
You also heard
errors of, like,
father
death,
die.
die, father, reminder. I didn't hear the question.
Yeah. So I don't time anything besides this. We've been out for 2 hours and 26 minutes, just so you guys know. I don't know if it felt like that for some of you.
It did in the beginning, but then
Thanks.
Henry, would you like
You really run on at the beginning, Nick.
university?
So that definitely tells me that you guys are going to have probably close to, based on all 3 videos, probably close to, I would say 9-10 hours worth of media coming back to you. So you're going to have a lot to go through. Again, I'm going to be spot checking everything, and I usually send that text out to Mindy because she's obviously the only phone number I have at this point. By the way, anybody that does want my contact info, there's a QR code on most of your devices. You can either tap it if you have Android, put it right in the middle of your phone, or you can scan it with your Apple phone. It actually gives you all of my contact info. That includes my website, all of the social media crap, all of that stuff goes right into that. So I'm going to start collecting gear, and then you guys can ask me more questions, and then you guys can walk back with me to get back to your guys' garage, because my office is right next door. So I'm going to lead you along the way all the way back to your house. So, how many cars did you guys drive by?
What were the questions in the gibberish?
What were the what?
I didn't hear the questions.
The questions were like, are you here alone?
She's
Who
hearing
are you
radio.
with? Can you tell us about your son?
Yeah.
Etc. And every time it was just Katie going like,
So when a disembodied
dog,
voice comes through, I
dog,
always carve it out
die,
and hand it off to you
danger,
guys as a
locally
separate
owned
piece of audio.
university.
I did hear the one question that was like, Henry, would you like us to leave?
Yeah.
University.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she was just like, thanks, guys.
I didn't hear that one.
I saw one thing with like
Oh, we're on low power on that too, huh?
it looked like I'm pissing in my dog.
You can just set it down. I'll take care of it.
I think I heard